Hello! That's right, ladies and gentlemen. We're back, episode 18. I hope you're all doing well. I hope everyone has had a wunderbar week. Alright, man, how do I start? I never really know how to start these. I kind of just riff until I fall into, natural, conversation. I don't really have a whole lot to talk about. I'm going to be totally honest with you. There isn't really a whole lot going on with me. In my day-to-day, at least nothing that I really feel like is, applicable to be shared at the moment, Skyrim update, for those who are interested. I am getting bored. And you know what? That's not entirely true. I think I'm getting bored of the playthrough that I'm currently doing right now with my pretty much max level sneak, speech, one-handed, what else? Archery character named Tharnir. He's a Khajiit. I'm just not I don't know. I've done everything. Well, I've done everything that I wanted to do. I joined the Thieves Guild. Very boring. The Thieves Guild. Not really. They don't really get up to much. The Thieves Guild. The guilds. The Guild of Thieves. Then I moved over to the Companions. Companions are, I would say, more or less the same, except you get up to a little bit more shenanigans with them. Just finished their quest line. Rest in peace. What's his name? Skjor. Rest in peace him. I'm now a beast. I'm now part werewolf, and I can't get a restful sleep because I have the beast blood in me. And that alone, no joke, is what makes me not want to be a beast anymore. So I'm thinking about joining the Dark Brotherhood, but Tharnir is not. He's not evil. He's not an evil guy. I might do that with my next playthrough with what I was thinking about making a Nord. I talked about this. I was going to make him a Nord, and he was just going to be just an asshole, and he was going to be really big. I might still do that. Every time I say that that's what I'm going to do, I just end up doing more quests with Tharnir. I think what I want to do is I just want to completely do everything that I want to do. I want to get it all out of my system so that, when I do eventually start a new game, I know exactly what I want to do. I kind of have an idea. All I know for now is that I want to do the Imperial questline, because with Tharnir, I did the Stormcloak questline. I finished that up. I don't know if I told you this. It glitched. There was like a glitch where I would go to the Jarl Ulfric, and we would go into Solitude, and there would be no markers to go to, and there would be no updated quests. You would just go in there and just run around, and you couldn't open any doors or anything like that. So I got stuck on that. I looked online. I tried to figure out how to fix it. Nothing worked, and then I loaded the game back up and was just like, all right, let's just see if this works. And it worked, and I was just like, okay. And there it goes. It was finished. So yeah, there's really not much else going on. I'm trying to sit here and think about anything that I feel like, again, is applicable for sharing, and I can't really think of anything off the top of my head. So you know what? We're not even going to waste any time as I transition over, and we're just going to hop straight into it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, sorry, just making sure I had enough. Wrestling Observer Radio's Dave Meltzer was given the impression that AEW has made a higher offer than WWE to sign free agent Kazuchika Okada. WWE is, quote, going with the idea that if Okada wants to come to WWE, he'll come to WWE. Now, if everyone could just follow me really quick, and we're just going to head downstairs real quick, nothing crazy. I just need everyone to follow me. Could you shut the door? Thank you very much. Can you make sure it's locked? Okay. You gotta push the door in, push it in. Okay, pull it out a little bit. And then, okay, there you go. All right, now come down here, follow me. Okay, nothing crazy. Stop looking at me like that. God, follow me. God, Lord, sit down. Okay, are you comfortable? It's a bit cold. I'll turn the space heater on 1 second. All right, turn the space. Okay, see, space heater's on. Thank you very much. It's very well lit down here. Very comfy. It's not like a dungeon or anything. Yes, there is a bit of it's not actual brick. It's like concrete. The point is, okay, I just wanted to be away from the riffraff upstairs, all right? I think that Kazuchika Okada, I did all that, by the way. I think Kazuchika Okada is going to go to WWE. Okay? If we're still doing 2024 predictions, I predict Kazuchika Okada is going to go to WWE in 2024. I could be wrong about that. I'm not 100% confident in that prediction. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I believe that Kazuchika Okada is going to see what AEW has going on, and he's going to be like, you know what? I'm not really. This isn't for me. You know. The more I see, but this is why I like saying my thoughts out loud, because I turn around and I say, you know what? I don't think that that's true, or I don't think that I don't. That thought doesn't have enough weight in it for me to classify it in its entirety. And I'm going to take back that prediction, because I feel like you need a year just to really see what they're about. You know, I feel like the entire, I mean, it sounds like we're getting Okada and Monet by the end of February. End of February, early to mid-March is around that time frame where we could potentially be getting the both of them, if not one. You know? And I feel like 6 months is too short. It's way too short. A year is enough time for them to do something with you, for them to give you a championship, for you to be a champion for a considerable amount of time. It's enough time for you to sort of get your feet wet, see what they're about. And I don't know why, I just have this thought in my head, just hearing the quote, that they're going with the idea that if Okada wants to come to WWE, he'll come to I believe that. I believe that if Okada does want to see what WWE is about, he will go and he will see what they're about. He may not do it in a year. I think a year is just a little bit too short of a time frame for him to leave AEW and then go to WWE all in one motion. But I do firmly believe that Okada will eventually leave AEW and then he will go to WWE. I believe it. You can believe that the earth is flat. That doesn't mean that it's true. You know? So, do with that information what you will. Okay. AEW has made a higher offer than WWE. Now, I have expressed my concern for this many times over about how WWE made a high offer. Monet asked for a high offer and she did not get it. What did AEW offer them? Now, I have to back that up with, I am not the financial advisor for AEW. I've said this a million and one different times. I don't know how much money they have in the bank to be doing this sort of thing. It worries me, though, that the ticket sales are not lending themselves to AEW at the moment. And I forget Homegirl's name, but she's the new, I forget what it is. There's like a name for it. It's basically like, it's to do with selling tickets, pretty much, for the shows. I would assume that she's working overtime to try and fix this situation that AEW's got going on right now. You've got AEW kind of in the mud at the moment with ticket sales. So I would argue that the revenue that they've got coming in is not as much as they would like it to be. If you go back, you know, and you remember that I talked about on one of the Ringside episodes where they were like, oh, AEW, I could look for it, but like that would take too long and I don't even know where to look for that. Where they were like, oh, AEW's, like, it was like something along the lines of AEW should be at this level and they're not. AEW should be making or should be at the level of this particular cap of revenue and they are below it. You know? And you gotta factor that in. You have to factor that in. That AEW needs to be making a considerable amount of money. And I feel like they're not doing that with the low ticket sales. And I feel like you've got Mercedes Moné coming to AEW, and you've got Kazuchika Okada coming to AEW. And that's, I would argue, those are two big blows to AEW. I mean, no matter what you think, they gotta get paid. Those are two considerable blows to AEW's pocket. So, how much is AEW giving Okada? Gotta be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Can't be more than 8 figures. Gotta be 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 figures. What am I talking about? No. How much is... God in heaven, man. 1,000,000 is 6 zeros. 1,000 is 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold on a minute, man. I need to do this because I'm dying over here. Hold on a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 figures. What's 9? 8, 9. 100 mil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9. $100 million, Ed. $100 million. I don't even think any wrestler in the world is getting paid $100 million. That is eight figures is $10 million. $100 million? Lord have mercy. Okay, 7 figures. There's no $100 million. Fuck me. Jesus wept. 7 figures. Has to be 7 figures, in the 7-figure range. 8 figures, I would argue, is pushing it. 9 figures, he better be the champion for the rest of his life. I think it's 7 figures. I also think that Mercedes Moné is also getting 7 figures as well. I don't think that logistically you can go higher than that. For both of them, if you're doing both of them in such a short time frame, I think there's no way you're losing out. There's no way you're taking that big of a hit. One after another, there's no way. So, my point is that you're spending all this money on this man and this woman. You gotta do something with him. And I mean, like, I'm not talking like where they come in and they do one big marquee match and then they join a faction and then that's them. Pretty much. Like they're just plateauing the rest of the way. I think the best thing, because the first thing everyone is going to assume is Kazuchika Okada should be AEW World Champion and Mercedes Moné should be AEW Women's World Champion. And I think the best thing for them to do is to hold off on that, because you just got Joe, and Toni Storm is currently, doing her thing right now. Say what you want. She's doing her thing as the AEW Women's Champion. And, I mean, listen, I was wrong about a topic that we will get into in a short moment, but I could be wrong about Deonna Purrazzo losing to Toni Storm, but I don't see that in the cards. But man, I've been getting my fucking shit rocked these last couple months in terms of what I believe is going to happen in wrestling. Okay, so I say with confidence that I don't know anything. I'll be the first to tell you that I don't know anything, but there are just I just go off of what I see, and maybe I need to get better eyes. Maybe I need to get LASIK again. Contacts. A new glasses prescription. Because I'm looking at the wrestling landscape, and I'm getting a lot of things wrong. Okay? And in fairness, nothing that I say, I hope that I'm not alluding to the things that I say to be taken just as is. I would hope that nobody believes that the things that I say are set in stone, because, man, when I tell you they're fucking not. Man, some of the takes that I have. But they're my takes, and I like that. I like that my takes are wrong. They're my takes. I'm not telling you what is going to happen. Well, I am, but, I'm only saying it under the veil of, this is what I believe, and that's why I'm saying it. And if I've confused you up to this point, then I want to apologize, and I want to say, for posterity, nothing that I say out of my mouth about wrestling should be taken as complete fact. If anything, I would argue that you need to listen to, if there's anyone you 100% have to listen to, my top 3 would be Bryan Alvarez, Dave Meltzer, and Sean Ross Sapp. Those are the top 3 that I feel like you should listen to when it comes to what happens in the wrestling world. Okay, don't listen to me. I'm a schmuck. So, with all that being said, I feel like Kazuchika Okada and Mercedes Moné deserve to be champions 100%. But that does not give them the right to come in and upend storylines that they've probably got planned or champions that they already have established. I never like when that happens. I never like when wrestlers kind of just, like when Goldberg showed up way back when and he just got a championship. Like, I hate that. You know? Obviously, everybody wants to see that match, but I feel like you could do more. And again, this is my biggest fear with Okada and Mercedes Moné. They come in, they challenge for the titles, they lose, and then they get put in a storyline that just very slowly just cools them off. Like what they did with Keith Lee. He shows up, you know, has a couple matches here and there, wins a championship, loses the title, and then you just don't hear from them again. And then they end up on Rampage, or they show up on Ring of Honor, and then that's it. You don't see them on Collision, you don't see them on Dynamite. They just kind of just float around in the back now, and I don't want that to happen to them. If it can happen to Keith Lee, it can happen to Okada. I mean, if it can happen to Athena, it can happen to Mercedes Moné. You know, like, these guys, they not Okada or Mercedes, but like these Athena and Lee and all that, they shouldn't be. I mean, to be fair though, I don't know if Athena is still the Ring of Honor Women's Champion, but I don't think that it's right that these guys are showing up and they're getting put in like maybe one or two storylines, and then that's kind of it, you know. And then every now and again, they show back up just to sort of be like, hey, I'm still alive, you know. Maybe that's just me. I'll be the first. I'll hold my hand up. It's me. Maybe it's just my outlook. Maybe I need a different outlook. Maybe I need to be watching Ring of Honor more, you know. But from what I'm seeing, from what I'm interpreting, I don't like that these wrestlers show up and then they're not really doing anything. But then I have to make the argument that, you know, you can't give every single wrestler the spotlight. But they deserve the spotlight at least once. Well, okay, yeah. And that's technically what Keith Lee did, you know. I just don't want Tony to squander the two biggest names in all of wrestling by having them immediately jump into a title picture, lose, and then they go off and they don't really do anything else. You know? That's kind of why I feel like Okada, mainly Okada, maybe not Moné, mainly Okada, I feel like he's going to go to WWE. I don't know what Moné's going to do. I don't have any idea. I had no idea what Okada was going to do. I mean, for all we know, he could still change his mind and go to WWE. I have no idea. You know? So, it's really up in the air. It's up in the air. It's anyone's guess. In response to speculation, WWE may have called an audible after CM Punk was injured in the Royal Rumble. Fightful Select reported that Cody Rhodes was the planned winner going into the match. However, the much-discussed Seth Rollins segment with Rhodes on the January 29th Raw was done, quote, as a result of Punk's injury. I was under the impression that this was meant to just boost the rating, and it was meant to go no farther than that. Now, I haven't watched SmackDown, but unfortunately, I have notifications about wrestling news on my phone, and I went onto YouTube. I don't even know why I went onto YouTube, to be totally honest with you. But I went on there. You know what? I think it was to look at my videos. It was to check my views and my analytics and stuff. And sorry, I'm itching my eyes, so I can't. Okay. It was to check my video views and what have you. So I got a glimpse of the big news that just happened. I don't know how I'm supposed to word this. Because, well, I don't know how I'm supposed to word this. Where is it? Okay. Whatever. I don't know how to... So Cody Rhodes, spoiler alert, I don't know. I mean, you're listening to this on Saturday, so I mean, if you still haven't watched SmackDown, it's 1 o'clock in the afternoon. If you still haven't watched SmackDown, then I don't know what to tell you. So, spoiler alert. Okay? Run. Go upstairs. Go back upstairs. The space heater's still on. Don't worry. Unlock the door. Close it. Don't tell anyone we're down here. All right? Cody Rhodes gave The Rock his WrestleMania main event. Now, and Cody Rhodes is going to go after Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship. And I read an article. I read a response. We'll say a response. It's not really an article. I mean, that technically is not an article. It was a response that somebody wrote on Cage Side Seats. I didn't get the name, but the gist of it was, you know, this is fine. That was pretty much the argument of, hey, this has happened before, where the audience, the fans kind of get a little bit riled up when it comes to what the main event should be and who should be in the main event of WrestleMania. And they did it with Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin and Chris Benoit and Batista. And the argument was, oh, this is who should be in the main event and this is who they should go after and all this sort of stuff. And we have it in our head and, you know, we run away with it. In defense of the fans, if I could play devil's advocate, if you are told if you are being fed a specific narrative, you are not wrong for thinking what that narrative is going to be. Just like how I am under the assumption that the narrative is that Carmelo Hayes is eventually going to turn on Trick Williams. You cannot paint me as a fool for believing that. That is what I have been led to believe. I didn't just spring that up out of thin air. What a random thing Carmelo Hayes is going to turn on Trick Williams. Not in a million years would I have thought that. You know? But that is what I'm being fed by NXT, given the storylines and given the story beats that it is going on. So if he doesn't turn on him, okay. I'm not in charge of that. I'd be a little bit confused because that's what I've been told, but I mean, you know, it's whatever. Does Cody Rhodes have to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania? No. It's not up to me. We are the fans. We don't really, at the end of the day, realistically, we don't make the decisions. So if Triple H, Nick Khan, Ari Emanuel, they want to do Rock Roman at Mania, fine. That's their prerogative. Cody is still getting a Mania match, and I would argue that he's going to main event one of the nights. I would assume night 1. Rock Roman got to be on night 2, right? I don't really know where we go from. I mean, this is all done because CM Punk injured himself, so it makes sense. I wonder if CM Punk's injury led to Rock main eventing WrestleMania with Roman Reigns. I wonder if that would have just happened anyway. I'm curious. I'm curious as to what led to both of these decisions. Well, Rollins Cody was the result of Punk, but I wonder if Rock Roman was just always going to happen no matter what. To be fair though, 2 nights, yeah, fair enough. You know, you could have made that night 1 or night 2 easily with no questions asked. And you know what? They're doing it. They're doing it. There's no more speculation. They're doing it. It is going to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. Is it going to be for the title? I don't know. I didn't read too much into that, but I know that it is going to be The Rock Roman at WrestleMania. Good. You know what? Good. I want that to be the case. If you're going to have a match at WrestleMania, it needs to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns. It's been built up for years, since I think WrestleMania 38. It was supposed to be The Rock versus Roman Reigns, and now we're finally getting it. Years after it was being mentioned. And yes, I said 2 things. No. I said you could do The Rock Roman at WrestleMania, but I was like, The Rock shouldn't be winning the title because that wouldn't make any sense. You can't have a guy who has not been in the company for years, all of a sudden he wins the title and now he's here. I mean, unless he is changing his schedule around and that's what he's going to do, then fine. But I'm going off of the idea that The Rock still has his obligations with the movies and, other stuff going on with the UFL, and now he's the board member for TKO. How is he going to have time to wrestle? And I don't want him to have the Undertaker schedule where he's gone for 6 months and then he just randomly fucking shows up. I don't want that. I personally don't. I don't want that. I say that, and that's basically what Roman Reigns is doing. He's doing what Brock Lesnar was doing, and I didn't like that Brock Lesnar was doing that. But I can't deny that Roman Reigns brings in the ratings. So maybe you do have to make, maybe absence does have to make the heart grow fonder. I don't know, man. Shit. I don't know anything at this point. Okay? I got nothing anymore. I'm done. I'm tapped out in terms of what's going to happen and what shouldn't. Man, if anything, I am being alerted to how little my voice matters, okay? But that's why I said, I love that I have my wrestling takes. Are they dog shit? Sure. You ask fucking Joe Uppercut down the street. He'll tell you that my wrestling takes are shit. Fine. You go into Twitter. Man, some of the wrestling takes on there, but they say them, and it's their takes. Fine. You are entitled to have your wrestling take, be it shit or not shit. Okay? That's why I'm okay with my opinion and how I feel about wrestling. Now, man, I can't even begin to talk about if Cody Rhodes is actually going to win the World Heavyweight Championship from Seth Rollins. Is the match going to be great? Absolutely. Is Rock Roman going to be great? Man, I hope so. I'm not going to lie. The Fatal 4-Way match wasn't really that good. It wasn't amazing. I was told what was going to happen, though. So, knowing what was going to come out of that. I mean, if I wasn't outright told that Randy Orton is not winning a world title and Randy Orton and Roman Reigns are not getting pinned, then I would have been like, I genuinely don't know what's going to happen. I feel like Randy could win. Or maybe, AJ couldn't win, but I feel like Randy could win. I would have told you that Randy could have potentially walked away with the win on that one, but that wasn't the case. And they're obviously holding off for it. Obviously, they're holding off on it on a one-on-one. I don't know when they're going to do it. I don't know if they're going to do it at Elimination Chamber, just sort of have that be done. I genuinely don't know. So we gotta wait. We gotta wait and see. We have to. We have to wait to see when they're going to do, what they're going to do with Cody Rollins. I argue it's not going to be as much shenanigans as it's going to be with Rock Roman. I'm curious if they are going to genuinely put the title on Cody Rhodes. I genuinely don't know, so we will have to wait and see. Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that Roman Reigns versus The Rock, quote, is still happening this year. He just doesn't know exactly when or where. It's happening at WrestleMania. Now, the shenanigans. The reason why I didn't like the Fatal 4-Way match is because of the shenanigans. There's always shenanigans in a Roman Reigns match at this point. I mean, you can't have a Roman Reigns match without shenanigans involved. Now, what type of shenanigans are going to take place? I don't really know. I assume Solo Sikoa, Jimmy Uso, maybe some other solo member, maybe Rikishi's going to make an appearance. I genuinely don't know. I mean, it's now it is just up to what they feel as though the build should be at this point. I genuinely don't know. I threw Rikishi out there. Maybe Rikishi genuinely will show up. Who knows at this point? I don't want there to be... Okay, there's so much that I don't want in this match. One, I don't want The Rock to win. Because he's basically going to be the exact same as Roman and the exact same as Lesnar in the sense of, like, we're probably going to see this bald-headed shithead maybe, like, once or twice a month. And I don't know. It'll work, though. It'll work. It'll because it's working with Roman. Where he shows up once or twice a month. It'll work. It's going to be a little bit odd because, what is everybody going to do? But then again, they've been doing it. I mean, they had the Fatal 4-Way match. I mean, they've been chugging along. With Roman occasionally showing up every now and again. Sorry, I ditched my arm. I apologize. I don't want The Rock to win. They could have him win, and they could do the Roman thing. I also don't want any shenanigans to take place, because that happens in every single Roman match, and it's to be expected at this point. And now it's kind of getting a little bit stale, because it just keeps happening over and over again. It's the same thing. 1, 2, someone gets pulled out, someone pulls their hood up. It's an Uso member. It's a member of the Anoa'i family. I don't know what I said previously. I don't know if I said a Sikoa member. I think I said of Sikoa. Either way, the point is, they're just about to win, and then the referee gets smacked up, or somebody runs out, and you know what I mean, and then Roman spears, and then he wins. So, I think for this match to be good, I think it needs to be a full-on one-on-one match, and as much as I feel like it should be the case, I feel like The Rock should win. It's WrestleMania, it's night 2, it's the main event. Have The Rock win. I don't know. I'm not even confident in that. I don't know what's going to happen. Just because it's The Rock, it's WrestleMania, it's Roman Reigns, it's a lot of shit. There's so many different there's so many different variables that are floating up in the air right now that I cannot give you a definitive winner. I genuinely don't know. So I guess we're just going to have to wait and see. I know I keep saying that, but this is just the field that we're in. You literally cannot see into the future. You can't say exactly. Folks, I said out of my mouth that we are not going to have Rollins Cody at WrestleMania, and now we are having Rollins Cody at WrestleMania. You have to wait, and you have to see what's going to happen. I don't like when you say that all the time. Well, tough fucking tits, because that is how it is. Also, don't say that. Anyway. Dave Meltzer said on Wrestling Observer Radio that, quote, some people think that Brock Lesnar may never come back to WWE. I don't believe that. I believe that Brock Lesnar will be back in WWE. I don't believe it'll be this year. I believe that he will come back. My argument, I speculate that I speculate that Brock will never come back. I mean, okay, if this never happened, if this whole allegations thing never came out, I would speculate that we would not see Brock back maybe past 2025. Maybe 2024 would be, I think I said that 2024 would be his final year. I think we would see Brock occasionally pop up, because they were going to do something. They were going to have Brock in Mania. They were going to have Brock Gunther in Mania. They were going to have Brock do something with Dominic at Elimination Chamber, if I remember correctly. I think that they were going to have that, and I doubt Brock was going to win. I doubt it. I'm not going to allow you to ruin Gunther's stock with how well he has been keeping it fortified this entire time. It just wouldn't make any sense for Brock to win. But I think that if the allegations had never come out, it would have been, you would have had Brock Dominic at Elimination Chamber, and you would have had Brock Gunther at WrestleMania, and then that pretty much would have been it, to be totally honest with you. I genuinely believe that we would have never seen or heard from Brock again for the rest of 2024, and maybe he would have shown back up again, possibly around WrestleMania season next year, and then maybe he calls out from the heavens, hey, I'm done now. But I think that they are going to bring him back, and if I remember correctly, the rumors that I read before I did this episode, I think Meltzer was talking about how WWE are kind of looking at this whole situation in the sense of, when do you think is the best time to bring Brock Lesnar back? Like, I forget what the exact quote was. I forget what the exact quote was, but it was along the lines of, when is this going to blow? When are we going to bring Brock out again? When is this going to blow over? When can we have Brock back? And I believe that. That makes sense. Listen, say what you want, but I fully believe that WWE is going to try and bring Brock back in some capacity. Maybe in the next couple of months? Probably not. I would say in the next 6 to 7 months, 6 to 8 months, that's when we're going to see Brock Lesnar again. But then I still stand by what I said previously, in the sense of, even if he does come back in the next couple of months and he does have a match, I think 2024 is going to be the last year. And maybe he'll do one appearance next year, but that'll be it. So, I don't know. Listen, man, I don't know. So, finally, PW Insider also tells us that Mercedes Moné will be back working in pro wrestling by March, and, quote, not for WWE. So, again, I think that she is going to be in the title picture. That goes without saying. I think that she is going to have a compelling storyline with a title contender or a main eventer. That, again, goes without saying. I am worried, same way that I'm worried for Kazuchika Okada, where they show up and they are immediately thrusted into the main event scene. And I mean like at the tippy top of everything, where they challenge for the title and everybody is firmly behind them and all the hype and all the speculation and all the hoopla, right? I mean, they're saying by March. I mean, we're already in February, and there's speculation that Mercedes Moné could be the announcement that Tony Khan is talking about. Because, of course, Tony Khan's got to have an announcement about something. I mean, he scratches his ass and he's got to have an announcement, you know? He sees a shadow, for fuck's sake, and he makes an announcement. I mean, I'm assuming, I'm assuming that that's what it is. I don't know, but I'm going to go ahead and follow along here and assume that that's what it is. I don't want both, again, Moné and Okada to come in and they get thrown so high to the top that there's nowhere else to go but down for them. That worries me. It worries me. You know, in terms of just their star power, their popularity, their in-ring ability, their contracts. There's a lot riding on them to carry AEW. And not even, okay, we'll say, think of AEW as a backpack. At the very least, you want Okada and Moné to have their arms around both of the straps each for the backpack analogy. You don't want Okada with all of it. You don't want Moné with all of it. You want them to have equal share. You could argue that, you know, they're definitely going to cast a very large shadow on the locker room as a whole. Fair enough. I mean, it's Kazuchika fucking Okada, and it's Mercedes fucking Moné. Yeah, man, they're gonna cast a shadow. You're gonna be sorry if I was a little bit far away. You're what am I trying to say here, man? Like, Matt Bennett, is that his name? Matt Bennett and, you know, Wardlow and guys who already were kind of like, you know, struggling to not so much put a dent, but like knock it down fully, knock down the glass ceiling in full. They're cracking it for sure, but they're just not punching hard enough. And Mercedes Moné and Kazuchika Okada just walk through it. And that's obviously going to make it... It's definitely going to change up things. It's going to change it up. For better or for worse, that is up to your interpretation. In my opinion, that's not up to me. That's not the call. I just can't express enough how worried I am that these two are going to... Their popularity is almost going to exceed themselves. And Tony Khan is not going to, I don't know. I mean, what constitutes utilizing them to the best of their ability other than giving them a world championship? I think you could do a lot with them. I think that Tony Khan is going to do everything in his power to make them be the stars that he knows that they are and everybody knows that they are. If there's anywhere that, I mean, to be fair though, Mercedes Moné would do better in WWE just because that's really where, you know, she gained most of, if not a large chunk of her popularity. She definitely got another huge chunk of popularity after leaving, but I'm saying, like, you know, a lot of it, I mean, you can't argue that a lot of it did come from that, right? So, I said all that to say that I just want them to do well, that's all. I just want them to do well in AEW. That's all I'm trying to say. You put all that money into them, you know, you want them to do well. Folks, I need everybody to do me a favor, and I need everybody to go, okay, we're leaving the basement now. Follow me. We're coming back upstairs. I'm going to lock it. Well, the door was already unlocked. You can't lock it from there. Anyway, we're coming back upstairs. I need everybody to go into their bedrooms, and I need everybody to start packing up their stuff. Grab your necessities, your toothbrush, your toothpaste. Make sure you get your shampoo and put it in a Ziploc bag so that if it explodes, it doesn't get on your clothes. And follow me because we are now on our way. We are boarding the train to Rumination Station. That's right. That's right. Hello. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Rumination Station. We have a pretty interesting question. All of the questions are interesting, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. So we're not even going to waste any time. We're just going to jump into it. Why did pirates wear eye patches? This is by Aaron McCarthy. It's posted on January 30th, 2024. Jim Sheedy, a doctor of vision science and director of the Vision Performance Institute at Oregon Pacific University, told the Wall Street Journal that while the eyes adapt quickly when going from darkness to light, studies have shown that it can take up to 25 minutes for them to adapt when going from bright light to darkness, which, quote, requires the regeneration of photopigments. Pirates frequently had to move above and below decks on their ships, from daylight to near darkness, and Sheedy says the smart ones, quote, wore a patch over one eye to keep a dark adapted outside. When the pirate went below decks, he could switch the patch to the outdoor eye and see in the darkness easily, potentially to fight while boarding and plundering another vessel. Though there are no first-person sources from history that state this as fact, there's no question that keeping one eye dark adapted works. Mythbusters tested this hypothesis in their pirate special in 2007 and determined that it was plausible, only the lack of historical sources kept it from being confirmed. Fair enough. At least one military manual for pilots pointed out, quote, even though a bright light may shine in one eye, the other will retain its dark adaptation if it is protected from the light. This is a useful bit of information because a flyer can preserve dark adaptation in one eye by simply closing it. Even the FAA recommends that, quote, a pilot should close one eye when using a light to preserve some degree of night vision. That's very interesting. I was under the assumption that a pirate had an eye patch because his eye got knocked out because he's a pirate and his eye got slashed, or maybe a parrot pecked it out, But in fairness, I'm being a bit of a piratist, if I could be honest, because I'm assuming I'm assuming that all pirates had parrots and peglings and what have you, and hooks for hands. But the reason why they had all that stuff is because they lost their limbs from all the plundering and whatnot, and the pillaging. And that's why they did it, because they still needed to swashbuckle and what have you. The eye patch thing is very interesting, though. That is actually a very interesting, different reason for why they wore the eye patches. The eye thing is, just the whole idea of the reason why is what I think is very interesting, because it's like, they were smart enough to be like, well, every time I come down here, I can't see shit for like half an hour, so. And I can't walk around with both my fucking eyes closed, and sunglasses weren't invented yet. So there needs to be something that I can do, or some sort of apparatus that I can use, where my eye, at least one of them, is being preserved specifically for that, instance. Yeah, I can only see out of one eye, but like, I can see out of one eye. So, maybe they were used for both. I would argue they would be used for both. I mean, in fairness, you got an eye patch, it strengthens the other eye. Maybe that was also it too. Well, probably not, but I'm assuming that that's also what it did. We can't really confirm because, as far as I know, we don't have any evidence, to go back and see, right? But, again, this is really interesting because, like, I was fully under the assumption that was not, it's interesting because I didn't even consider that was even a possibility for what the eye patch was even for. I thought it was almost like a bandage, almost. Like, I don't have my eye anymore, let me cover that up. I don't want shit to get into it. The salty air, someone else's blood, food, So I'm going to put an eye patch over it because I want to keep it covered and I want to keep it safe and clean. But someone's eye could be perfectly fine. There could be nothing wrong with Captain Jimmy John's eye. And he could just be doing that for the I can't think of the word right now. I don't know what's going on. He's doing it for efficiency reasons. That's the word. He's trying to make sure that if someone, I don't know, if he's down there, he's trying to make sure that he can see everything properly. Listen, say what you want. I find that very interesting. That's why I love doing Rumination Station. Okay? Gives you something to chew on. So, with that being said, folks, that's going to do it for this episode. I want to give a shout out to everybody who stopped by. Hopefully everybody has a wonderful tonight and a wonderful tomorrow. And as always, big hugs. Big hugs all around.